I'm gonna put on.
Hey, you guys, come on in here. Happy Thursday night. So excited that you're joining us tonight for Narcissistic Abuse 101 Part 2. Hey, Kimberly, how are you doing?
What's up, sis?
It's so good to see you. Good to see you too. Welcome back. I'm super excited to have you back. As you guys come in, please say hey to us. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Please remember, Ms. Weeks will answer any questions that we can live, as well as the ones that you guys have sent us to our inbox. So please make sure you come on in here. We had a great time last Tuesday, giving you guys lots of content, lots of information, answering some questions. And this topic is just so intense, Kimberly. So I'm excited that we're touching on it a little bit more, because even after last week, someone actually said we did not have enough time with Kimberly.
So I'm telling you, it's so much to this particular type of abuse. It is. There's lots of nuances. There are differences between male and female narcissistic abuse. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's so complex. And, because you specialize in it, I had to bring you back on, because we really need to talk about it. That's not my specialty. So you bring in someone who's great at it. So, hey, you guys, come on in here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Hey, from Ohio. Hey, glad to see you. Believe you were with us last week. Good to see you. So last week, gosh, I keep saying last week. So
Tuesday, yeah, I know, right?
Last Tuesday. First of all, let me just tell you guys how the hurricane kind of hit where she lives, and she has no electricity at her house. So she went to a Starbucks to still be here with us tonight. So kudos to you.
Right.
Thank you for that. Thank you for pushing through. Because she could have just said, hey guys, I can't do it. You know what I mean? I don't have electricity. She hasn't had electricity all day. But she's still here. So thanks, Kimberly, for that. So again, my name is Lisa Alexander, Executive Director and founder of Stand Up Survivor. Excited to have you here. Hey, from Atlanta, Alabama. Atlanta, you got electricity?
Metro might be a little different. There's some different places that have different,
So last on Tuesday, we talked about just the different types of narcissistic abuse, what it is, the abuse cycle, the narcissistic abuse cycle, the lines between, what is narcissistic abuse and what's domestic violence, and understanding what the two look like. Hey, from Jersey. So this month, Stand Up Survivor we've been just giving you guys heavy content Tuesdays and Thursdays all month long. And this is our final one for this month. And so we're excited to give you Miss Kimberly Weeks, the narcissistic abuse coach. Guys, remember, if you're tuning in and you love what we're talking about, please go ahead and give us some stars. We appreciate the love. So let's get started, Miss Weeks. You ready? So you want to introduce yourself for those who don't know you real quick?
Yes, I am. My name is Kimberly Weeks. I am a certified trauma recovery coach, and I'm trained by the International Association of Trauma Recovery Coaching. My specialty is narcissistic abuse and codependency and childhood trauma. Those two things are like two sides of the same coin, and I support male and female survivors of relational abuse. So that's me. I love the work that I do. It spun out of me experiencing my own experience with narcissistic abuse in a 13-year marriage, and its impact on me physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so I'm here tonight just to support other survivors, people who are in it, people who are still in it, people who are leaving the relationship, and people who are dealing with the after effects.
I appreciate you sharing a little bit about your story, and that you turned that into what you do now. 13 years of it. And I'm kind of skipping a little bit. So for you guys that are tuning in, hey, April, her electricity is out of her house and she pressed through and sitting in Starbucks. If y'all hear some background noise, you got to forgive us, because she said, I'm giving them this content tonight. So they said, glad you pressed through, Kimberly. So
absolutely.
Yeah, John, hey, good to see you again. We saw you on Tuesday. So tune in as soon as you can. It'll be up on the page. So Kimberly, I'm going to just skip this real quick. I just have to talk about it because you're glowing right now. You look all pretty, right? But today you shared a picture of what you looked like many years ago. And you guys have to go to her page and check it out. You should already be following her page, by the way. But it's Kimberly Weeks, narcissistic abuse coach. And you talked about the physical effects that narcissistic abuse had on your body. You guys, she looked different. Her face was swollen. I mean, Kimberly, what in that moment of taking that picture, what was going on?
In that moment of taking that picture, I had just been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of inflammation. I had spent 5 days in the hospital, including Christmas Day. So it was my first Christmas right after, going through my divorce process. And I was just going through hell. I mean, I was going through all of the impacts of your body having inflammation and just toxic stuff on the inside of me. And I took that picture because I was like, I cannot believe that, you know, what I've been experiencing is showing itself in this way.
Wow.
And, you know, I shared with you that I have a lot of clients who have experienced some type of physical manifestation of their abuse and being addicted to the abuse cycle, whether it's a form of cancer, whether it's an autoimmune disease, whether it's some type of anxiety or mental health diagnosis. This is very common for people who experience, especially long-term. You know, you've been in a relationship. I've had people sending me messages for the last 2 days, 17 years, 20 years, 25 years in a narcissistically abusive relationship. Wow. That's going to impact your body. Absolutely.
And the thing about that, you taught us last time, like, that's without putting a finger on you.
Right.
That is just the toxicity that goes into your brain. You know what they say, you do not look like what you've been through. I know that's right. Yes, because you talk about, and we're going to go into that a little bit later, but the ways that narcissistic abuse impacts you physically. So I know I kind of got ahead of myself, but you're glowing, girl. And I had to talk about the picture you showed earlier, kind of part of your story, and sharing that, hey, I definitely don't look like what I've been through, but narcissistic abuse, they don't have to lay a finger on you for it to impact you in that way.
Yes. And yet we talked about the last time that the psychological, because we defined the last time that narcissistic abuse is abuse by mind control.
Yes.
So even though they don't have to lay a hand on you, if you are in a long-term relationship with someone who is narcissistically abusing you, it will lead to other forms of abuse. It will lead to physical abuse. It will lead to sexual abuse, financial abuse, verbal, emotional abuse. You know, all kinds of things. It's truly like the person is taking over your psyche and directing you from a place of ownership. And we talked about that last time as well. So it's got all kinds of impacts on a person, for sure.
Wow. Pilar, I kind of see that question. It's a little long, so if you could chop it up for me, that would be really, really helpful, because I can't see all of that. It's a little bit long for me. Ooh, that's kind of loud. So somebody put in the comments that they've been out of their relationship for 2 weeks and they feel like they're dying. And I just want to address that real quick, because we both said, because we know what that feels like. And you talk a little bit about after you're out of the domestic abusive relationship, the narcissistic abusive relationship, it feels like withdrawal. So can you just talk a little bit about that to that person who said that, so they can kind of understand what they're going through physically? Yeah.
I actually talked about this last night on my webinar. When you are leaving the narcissistically abusive relationship, you are going to go through the same type of withdrawal symptoms, just like a person who is addicted to alcohol, who's addicted to heroin, cocaine. Your body doesn't know the difference between you withdrawing from the chemical releases of those chemicals that you put in your body and the chemicals of a stress hormone. It doesn't know the difference. So you will experience physical manifestations of withdrawal. Some people have shakes, sweats, some people vomit. I remember I went through a period that every time I heard the voice or saw the image of the person who abused me, I would vomit. You will have physical, responses to withdrawing from the chemical release of cortisol, adrenaline, all of those things that your body has become accustomed to. So I'm sure it does feel like you're dying. I know I went through the same thing. And this is why many people will jump back into an abusive relationship or go back to the abuser, because they don't understand that that's happening. And so they start feeling like they have to attach to that person again. It really does, like even dopamine, it'll release dopamine in your brain. And then all of a sudden you feel like a relief because you've had your high with the contact with that person. So for the person who wrote that, I want you to know that this is, even though it feels like hell, it is a normal part of leaving an abusive relationship with a narcissist. And the most important thing that you can do is create a support system for yourself so that you can weather the physical changes over the next weeks and months that are going to be required for you to hold that no contact with the person.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Find us a great support. Find a great support system too. And it may feel like you're dying, but you're actually in the beginning stages of starting to live again for the first time in your life. So hang on, hold on, because life is going to start coming back to you. You're slowly going to start finding yourself again. So don't give up and do not go back to the narc. Yeah. And
And do not go back, because what it is, it's just like someone who goes into rehab and then goes, falls off the wagon, so to speak. When you go back to interacting with that narcissist, you're literally re-entering your addiction. And that's really, truly what it is.
Yeah. And someone in the comments said, I went back several times and I couldn't stop. And I went back, I went back so many times because it felt normal. It felt, it's what I was used to. And even though it hurt, I knew what this felt like. This other feeling of that dying and death, and it was horrible. It was really, really painful. I didn't like that. And so it was easier to go back to what I knew. And so sometimes you just have to keep pushing through until you get to the other side. All right. So let's talk about what signs. So I've been in an abusive relationship. What are some signs that I've been with narcissistically abused? So
there are some outer signs and inner signs. Outer signs meaning the person just seems perfect. Okay. They seemed in the beginning, when they did their love bombing of you, like they presented the ideal person to you. Okay. That's a sign that something in the relationship, when you don't see, if they're agreeing with everything that you're doing, if they mirror everything, there's a term called mirroring, where you say, this is what I like, or this is what I want, and they just mirror it back to you. If they are giving you this package that just seems so perfect, that is always a red flag for me. Always, always, always a red flag for me. And the other thing is, people doubt that you were abused in the first place.
People what? I didn't hear that part. People what?
People doubt. You'll be explaining things to them, and they'll go, that guy or that girl? Come on. I've never seen with them. I've never seen any sign that person was doing X, Y, or Z. It's one of those things where they have done such a good job of grooming everybody around you, that now it appears that, no one will believe what you're telling them as it relates to the things that are happening in private for you. The other thing is and I said this last night, they have already started a smear campaign. Yeah. They've already started planting seeds of doubt in people's minds about your sanity, your competence, your intelligence, your commitment to them especially. They will literally, it's almost like they're beating you to the punch. Instead of you being able to tell your story of their abuse, they're starting to paint you like you're the person who's the abuser. That's called projection. And I think one of the things about that is because as victims of abuse, our goal is to protect them. So we don't tell anyone. But little do we know, on the other hand, they may be doing a smear campaign against us. And all we're trying to do is protect them. So we don't talk about the abuse. So if they go first and we come out after, but wait, this happened, but wait, he or she did this, but wait. And it's like, oh, what are you talking about? They already told us that you weren't stable. You were taking these medications. That's right. And I know a lot of times, and this one is a big one I'm going to bring up too, is that if you have any mental health issues or concerns or diagnoses, they will try to use it against you, and even in custody cases and things like that, when it comes to children, they will use it against you. And I think that's a really, really, it's a sensitive issue, and it's a difficult one, because if you confided in your spouse about any type of mental health issue and they use it against you in that way, it's just one of the worst things. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, in many instances, they've either accelerated or created the mental health issues that they're now condemning you for. Very true. I've even had, clients tell me that the spouse would, try to get them to drink more, try to get them to try certain drugs more, so that they can form that kind of addiction in them and support them and say, you need to do this with me, while the person is like pulling away from doing those types of things. Yeah. And so then when you get addicted, then that's something that they use to smear you. Yes. That you're the addict, you're the alcoholic, you're the this. And I'm telling you, it is again crazy making. It's absolutely crazy making for her. And someone said too, same with the disability diagnosis. So you guys, you're kind of freezing up a little bit, but I want y'all to know she's in Starbucks, y'all, because of the storm, her electricity went out. So I'll interject that for those that are popping in, but so she was like, we are going live tonight. I am getting this content to these people. So let's do it. But so if you kind of see her go in and out, kind of see some stuff going in the background, she is in a Starbucks pushing through to get you guys' content. So we're going to keep going. We can hear you. You're a little blurred, but we can see you. Yeah, exactly. So someone said, hold on. Okay. So what other signs kind of somebody be looking for? Oh, I've been going through that. Okay, that's narcissistic abuse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I was going to address something somebody said in the comments, that family sometimes won't believe you. So honestly, I didn't tell my family that I was in an abusive marriage until I was getting ready to get divorced. I filed for divorce. And like, what are you talking about? Like, you never told us. Yeah, but we don't tell. It could be because number one, we're afraid to tell, because if we do tell, what if you don't believe us? But another point is, I still love them and I may go back and I don't want you to hate them. So that's another reason we don't tell. We don't tell for a lot of different reasons, but oftentimes, and my family, some of them believe me, but some of them didn't. Some of the closest ones to me, but it didn't matter. It was still my truth. And I tell people that all the time. You were there, you know your truth. Stand in it.
I didn't tell until after, and I posted about this today, after I had a sexual violation. And I knew if I told my parents, it was going to be over. I knew it. I knew that they were not going to support anybody doing anything to me like that. And so I knew once I went to tell them that was my calling to Calvary for sure. Yeah.
That's a good point. And you know, someone said in the comment, it's like crying wolf, but when you're a victim of abuse, it's not crying wolf. You're not crying wolf. That you're not fake crying anything. This is real stuff. But the addiction, the pull to your abuser is still there, and it draws you back in. You're not going back because you like the desserts at the house. No, there's a serious pull that pulls you back into the relationship, and that keeps you there. That
pull is actually called a trauma bond.
The trauma bond. Yep.
A trauma bond is a bond with an abuser that is associated with violence and abuse. So you actually attach to them based on and you mix love and the concept of family and the concept of love with abuse, with violation. And that is the bond that you form. That typically forms in a person's childhood. You start that pattern in your childhood, and then it starts to replicate in your adult relationships. So trauma bonding is what that pull is that keeps a person going back. It's that, and as well as the addiction to the chemicals that you've been in the stress cycle.
Very clear. Good to know. Yeah, very clear for you guys.
Other signs are you get into a place where you're isolating from friends and family. You freeze. This is important. You find that when you have been narcissistically abused and you see their narcissistic rage, you begin freezing, like in situations where you're triggered. And like you can't think, you can't speak, you just freeze. That's a sign in your body that you have gotten into a place where your nervous system can't handle anymore what's happening. You can't make decisions. You can't make decisions. Simple decisions. Where are we going to go to eat? What am I going to do with my life? You don't want to set the narcissist off. You don't want to set them up to clown or humiliate or mock you. So you stop telling them what you want and what you desire. And when you do that, you actually disconnect from what you want and desire. So you can't make decisions anymore for yourself.
No.
One of the things that go ahead.
No, go.
No, one of the things I do often with my clients is we go through a discovery process. We're reconnecting with what they like, what they don't like, what they desire, what makes them, what they're passionate about, because they have so dissociated from that in order to protect themselves.
Right.
Because when you take your pearls, I call it the pearls, the things that are the most precious to you, and you give them to the narcissist, and then they use it against you or they sabotage you, you stop sharing. You stop even going there inwardly for yourself. So freezing up and not making decisions is definitely a telltale sign that you've been narcissistic.
I was going to talk a little bit about what you said too, because like you talk about those pearls. So someone said in the comments, you're not part of any of the decision making anyway. So what matters to you, what you like, things that are important to you don't matter anymore. They it's irrelevant to them. And so part of who you are, pieces of you start to die. You start to forget what you like, what you care about, your favorite foods, what you like to do goes away. So by the time you're out of the relationship, you don't even know who you are.
That's
you
right.
Literally
and as a matter of fact, if you share what you like and what you desire, they'll make sure you don't have it.
Oh, that's
they
good.
Use it as ammunition. They'll make sure that, and sometimes not only will they make sure you don't have it, but they'll do it in your face. They'll like I said last night, like single white female, they'll take over your identity in that way and do the thing that you've told them you want to do for you. They'll start doing it for themselves in your face and not support you doing it.
Yeah, that's good.
A sign.
Yeah, big time. And it's so important that if you have lost yourself as a result of an abusive relationship, that you get connected, whether it's through a group, a coach, a team, an advocate, and or your faith, to start to rebuild yourself and get to know who you. It's okay. It's okay if you start with a blank piece of paper. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to know what your favorite color is anymore, what your favorite food is. Just start. You know, I encourage you to start journaling and trying to figure out who you are all over again. It's okay to start over. It's okay.
Yes. Another thing is you always feel like you've done something wrong. You always feel like, you know, it's my fault. If you feel that way as a constant state in all of your relationships, all your environments, you've probably been narcissistically abused. You have unexplained physical symptoms that just come out of nowhere. That's another sign, because it's psychosomatic, but eventually it becomes somatic.
Hold on, I'm going to share something real quick. I probably haven't shared this probably with the audience before, but like I remember it was kind of that transition time, and I was getting sick every day. I was sick. I would be at work, I'd be passing out. I was driving, I had an anxiety attack on the side of the road. I had to pull over the ambulance. I mean, I was just constantly, I was like, what is going on? They could not figure out. Well, I didn't know what was going on. And it's so funny now that we're like talking about this. It's like, it makes so much sense that you're so stressed, can't sleep. You don't want to do anything to upset them. So you're constantly in this state of anxiety at all times.
Fight or flight. You're in a constant
all the
state
time.
Of fight or flight all the time. Yeah. The other thing is, you don't recognize this person that you've become. You don't recognize this person that you've become. The things that I used to be such a clean, neat freak. Oh my gosh, I probably was too much of a clean, neat freak, and I became this person that I just could not even handle the environment that I was in, because it was an environment of abuse. So I stopped caring about my environment. I stopped caring and taking good care of myself. You don't recognize, like people will say, you're this and you're this. And I remember when you did this, and you don't even recognize that person anymore.
Wow.
Because you've become something else, someone else. And you struggle to set boundaries. Very, very. You have a difficult time telling people no. You're in a people-pleasing mode all the time. And you're not people-pleasing primarily out of insecurity. You're people-pleasing to keep yourself safe.
Got it.
It's a way to keep situations from escalating. And so it starts with the narcissist, but then it happens with your kids. It happens with your parents. It happens with your employer. You know, you just have a difficult time setting boundaries, or even being connected with what a boundary is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone said in the comments, Tammy said, just do you, even if that you have to start over. Don't be afraid to do you. You know, regardless of what you've been through, regardless of you don't know who you are anymore, start to figure out who that is. There's no timetable for healing. No one says that, you know, tomorrow you should feel better because you're out of the relationship. You know, it doesn't matter. You take your time and you journey through that healing.
And that's a part of you taking up your agency again. That's like, I'm taking my will back. I'm taking my life back. And it's
so powerful. It's so powerful.
It's powerful because it was always yours for the enjoying and for the taking.
Yeah.
You know, they convinced you to give it over.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to that real quick, because you said regaining strength over your life, having strength, having control of your life was always there for the taking. But they convinced you that it wasn't. Yes. And so we're here to tell you that it's still yours for the taking. So take it. So
you have choices. You have choices. And the moment that you realize that you are not at the mercy of that other person's decision making, their thinking, their belief system, their thoughts about things, their desires, that you are. I remember saying, I'm a part of this equation too.
That's good.
I'm a part of this relationship too. And you have like co-opted it. So everything has to revolve around you and what you want. And I'm a part of this too. I matter.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are the signs. Those are just some things that, like, if you're experiencing that type of stuff, if you're going through, you know, people don't believe you because the person's created such an image. Your partner seems perfect to everybody else. When you get home, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. You freeze up a lot. You can't make decisions. You have unexplained physical symptoms. You don't recognize yourself. You have a difficult time saying no and setting boundaries. These are all things that you're like, oh my goodness, I'm probably being abused by mind control.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, that's good. Those are some signs. So let's talk about the ways that yes, they're saying I matter. You absolutely do. We totally believe that. Yeah,
that's right.
You absolutely do. And I love how you said, I'm a part of this equation, you know,
right.
and someone said a little bit a second ago that they're still a people pleaser, and that's still something they're working on, because I think a lot of us have been people pleasers, you know, and that's something that we really have to work on. You know, that's me. I matter. No, I mean, I'm valuable at work. I'm valuable at home. I'm valuable in friendships. I matter. My opinion matters. I'm not going to go where the crowd goes just because your opinion matters. How you feel matters. It matters. So,
and I'm capable. I'm capable.
Fully capable.
I have skill sets. I have giftings.
Yes.
I have, you know, desires that matter.
Yeah.
You know, what my presence on this earth is important.
Matters. Yes.
That's right. Yes.
Yes. And is needed.
And is needed.
That's so good. Yes. I love that. So let's talk about, because I know some people are talking about some of the physical. And for you guys that are tuning in, Kimberly is tuning in from Starbucks because her electricity was out. So if you hear that background noise, forgive it. That's what you're hearing.
Yeah.
So let's go into ways that the trauma impacts your body and your nervous system. What does that look like?
So it's going to cause primarily a dominance of it's called your amygdala. The amygdala is the part of the brain that activates for survival and fight or flight. So you're going to have actually, and typically you can actually do a brain scan, and people's amygdala will actually be enlarged because of overuse. So there is a size that it's supposed to be, and it will actually grow as a result of being used constantly for, you know, survival in, you know, chronic or complex PTSD and abusive relationships. It also causes something in your brain called the hypothalamus or it's actually the hippocampus. It causes it to shrink. That part of your brain is what holds your memories, processes comprehension, and putting, you know, things together. So it made sense to me, like, oh my gosh, that's right. This is why I'm forgetting things all the time. This is why I can't remember things all the time, because it actually changes your brain. It shrinks the part of your brains that are supposed to function for you to be able to, you know, operate optimally. And those are some things. So you go through brain changes. I said, we talked about, you have trauma bond. You have a stress addiction to stress. You have trouble making decisions. You distrust yourself. That's spiritually how it affects you. You don't trust your judgment or your decision making. You're always looking to other people to co-sign and validate what your thoughts are.
That's a big one, I think, looking for validation. What should I wear today? Where should I go? Should I talk to this person? Realizing that is
this lipstick okay? Is my hair all right?
And while I think it's normal, of course, all of these things coming out of it is normal to go through this, but you have to start listening to yourself and realizing, I don't need that person to help me make this decision. I'm wise enough because they've already made us second guess everything we are, everything we do, everything we wear. So once you get out of it, it starts to start making some of those decisions slowly but surely on your own. You know, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to say, hey, girl, does this look good? Do you think I should wear this, honey? That doesn't mean that. But it doesn't mean that you need those people's validation before you do something. That's what.
Right. I would say, and I talked about physical brain impairment, but you're also groomed for future abuse. One of the impacts of narcissistic abuse is it trains your senses. It trains your sense of touch. It trains your sense of sight. And so we talked about last time that you find yourself habitually in relationships with abusers, or you find yourself being attracted to people who you've seen the signs before, but you're still like, there's something on the inside of you that's like, oh, I'm really feeling that person. You're groomed to be attracted to abusive, violent situations. And that's a way that your brain has changed. That's how your image has gotten distorted. Distorted image is another thing, personally, but it also distorts your image of relationships and what's healthy in a relationship, what's satisfying in a relationship. We talked about that. People want that drama. They think that that's sexy. They think that that's what the way it's supposed to be. And they don't know how to deal with a securely attached person who there are not all of these extreme highs and lows with.
Yeah.
And they'll
a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship. A healthy relationship has normal ups and downs, but nothing chaotic, no violence, no police, no broken doors and windows. That's not normal.
Throwing people up against walls, sexually violating people. No, none of that. That's not normal for healthy for behavior, for relationships.
So I just want to sit there really quickly. I want you guys to know that is not normal.
Yeah.
None of those things, no type of violence, or even if they don't have to put a finger on you to be discrediting you and calling you out your name, that's not normal. It's not healthy in a relationship, period. So if you're enduring that, just know that it's not normal and you don't deserve it. So someone asked a question. Actually, you want to tell me what else? And before I ask, how do we repair it? Because that was a question that someone asked. How do we repair the damage that was done?
Such a great question. That pretty much summed up all of the impacts that happen with narcissistic abuse. That's a nice overview. But repairing it is going to require you, and I said this last night on the webinar, to make a commitment to doing whatever it takes to heal. The same commitment that you made and the same energy, bring that same energy that you brought to trying to make the relationship with that narcissist work. You bring that same energy to committing to yourself and your healing process. It has to be no holds barred. I'm willing to do anything. I'm willing to try any kind of modality of therapy, counseling, medication. I'm willing to do whatever it takes for me to heal. And it is a commitment to yourself to invest the time. And because people go, oh, well, I just kind of want to get through this. I just want to, it could take years and layers and waves of dealing with the impact of narcissistic abuse. And you have to be committed to it.
Wow. Yeah, it's not an easy journey. And you know how long we fight to keep our relationship going, the things we go to just to keep them happy. Let's put that same energy into ourselves, into our healing process. We're not saying, drink every cup that's given to you out there, because there's a lot of crazy stuff out there. You have to figure out what works for you, whether it's therapy or group, or some of us need medication or counseling, whatever it is that you need, go after it with that same tenacity that you did to save your abusive relationship. It's true. Commit to your healing.
What's so amazing is you've already demonstrated that it's in you to do it. You've already shown that resilience, that passion, that drive, that commitment. You've already shown it in the relationship with the narcissist. So now you just give it to you.
Yeah, that's good.
You've already shown that you can be committed. You've already shown that you'll no holds barred, that you'll do whatever it takes. So it's just a matter of starting to see yourself as worthy of that investment.
Yeah. And you are worthy of it.
And you are.
Period. Oh. You're so worthy. And I love it too, because I know you felt that when I said that too, because we both on the same day. To when you get to the point of realizing how worthy you are, how wrong they were about the things that they said to you and about you, it's gonna blow your mind. You mean to tell me I was beautiful this whole time? You mean to tell me I look good you mean to tell me I was smart this whole time? You mean to tell me I could have taken care of my kids this whole time? You mean to tell me I could have worked and financially supported myself this whole time? Let me tell you something. When you realize your capabilities and abilities outside of what they said that you were, my goodness, it's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind.
You feel bamboozled,
led
astray, run amok.
Seriously. And I say all the time, if I knew the life that I'm living now was on the other side of the hell that I was living, man, I would have ran a long time ago. I'm telling you, if I knew that the joy that I could experience, the peace that I could experience. I wake up in the morning and I have peace. I'm not worried about anybody doing anything to me. I'm not worried about anybody sabotaging me. I'm not worried about it. And what it does is you start getting a taste of that peace and that joy. And you literally are like, nobody is coming to disrupt. No.
Nobody is going to disrupt what's going on in my life again. Never again.
Nope.
And it's not that you can, you're cutting people off like, Edward Scissorhands here, but you're literally so committed to you and the environment inwardly that that is required for you to heal.
Yes.
That anyone that comes to challenge that environment has to be expelled. They have to.
Yes.
They're incongruent with who you are.
It doesn't match with the piece that's happening right now. And the thing is, I'm not going to tell you that peace comes that first night, that first year. That I'm not going to tell you that, because that will be a lie. You're going to cry yourself to sleep. You're going to be lonely. You may go back. You may fall into unhealthy relationship. You may go into you can go to drink yourself. All kind of stuff might happen.
That's right.
But because you have to mourn what you endured. But once you get out of that and you start to walk into healing and wholeness, let me tell you something. This joy right here, no one can take it. No one can take it from me, because they didn't give it to me. Nobody. Because I know what it's like to live in hell. I know what it's like to sleep with a knife under my pillow and be afraid. Yes. I look over at my husband now. I be like, oh, thank you, Jesus, because the peace that I have, y'all don't know how I used to be so afraid. I used to sleep with one eye open because I didn't know what mood he was going to be in, what was going to happen when he came home, if he was going to start throwing stuff at 3:00 in the morning. So when I tell you, when Kimberly says we sleep in peace, we sleep in peace. And we want, I'm just at joy, baby. Yes, because I'm telling you, and I know for a lot of people, they're not there yet, but we're here to tell you, you can get there.
It's real, and you can have it. I've had clients say to me, do you really think that is healing really possible? And I said, absolutely.
So good.
Absolutely. Our bodies are actually, they call our brains neuroplastic. We have neuroplasticity in our brains, which means that we can form new pathways.
Yep.
We can repair. So all the damage that's been done is not something that is going to keep you from healing if you're committed to creating the environment for yourself.
Yes.
That supports that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Create that environment that supports that. And anyone or anything that does not support your peace, your joy, or disrupts it, they gotta go. They can't. I don't care if it's your mama, family, and that's just the truth. Right. It doesn't matter. You've been through too much. This is the thing. Once you've experienced that, you don't want to go back there again. Absolutely. So you want to start to build those, like Andrea said, those new pathways, rebuild your life all over again. You don't want, they said we're preaching, by the way. We don't mean to be preaching. We just say, that's what they said.
Sorry.
That's somebody. They said
sorry, not sorry.
Right. All right. So, okay. So I don't even know where we went off on a tangent.
No, we were going to talk about some of the ways that a narcissist will try to avoid accountability.
That's good.
When confronted with their behavior. And I know I'm sure that there are some other things to this list. And so please put them in the comments. But here are some of my telltale signs. You'll see a person say, in the middle of you bringing them evidence, you got the receipts and you are bringing it to them. They'll say, look, I'm not going to argue with you. All you want to do is argue. That's what you're always trying to cause an argument. You're always trying to cause a fight. You're literally trying to hold them accountable for what they're doing in the relationship, behind your back, to you, said about you, violated you, and they'll just go, gosh, you're always arguing about everything.
Wow.
I am not arguing with you. That's one. Another one is you're literally like going off. You're standing up for yourself. You're saying, I am not dealing with it, taking this anymore. And they'll say, look, this conversation is over. It's over.
Wow.
It's done. And so literally you're like trying to get the resolution and the reconciliation, and they literally just pull the wind right out of you. It's over.
Yeah.
And they do it in a narcissistically rageful way. And so you're intimidated when they say that. You're scared.
Yeah. And you're standing there like, what just happened?
What just happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. Another one is they'll turn the tables. I call it turning the tables. And they'll say that you're the abuser, that you are the one that's abusing them. Yeah. They have provoked you. They have humiliated you. They have sabotaged you. You react to that because it's so unjust, and you're the abuser. Telltale way that they try to get out of avoiding taking responsibility for what they're doing in the situation.
Wow.
And then they'll say, you just need to get over it. I mean, like I said, I'm sorry. Sorry. Just get over it. Like, I mean, how many times are we going to talk about this?
Wow.
And you know that whatever apology they said was just so that they could go tell somebody else, yeah, I apologize for that. I apologize for cheating with that person. I apologize for those prostitutes. I apologize for hitting you.
Yeah, what else do you want from me?
What else do you want from me?
Wow.
Just get over it.
Wow.
Yeah. And the last one is, and this happens during discard. You'll have stuff that you start like becoming aware of that's been going on the whole time. And you will confront them with them. And they'll say, it doesn't matter. Like, why are you even talking to me? That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you're literally like, you just discovered they have a baby with somebody else. You just discovered that some crazy stuff. And that's the response that you get. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And again, the wind is knocked out of you. It's like somebody just hit you with a bus or pulled the rug right from under your life.
Wow.
These are the ways that they typically avoid having to be held accountable when confronted with their behavior.
Someone said in the comment, Nat said they say stop living in the past. That's the past. Why do you keep bringing it up? Right.
Past like yesterday. Past like last week.
Right. You just did it 5 minutes ago. Like I said, I was sorry. She said, call you crazy, dumb, damaged, obsessed, bad mother. And I think one of the things that they do is try to say you're a bad parent. Which if you want to hurt a parent or a mom, just say that they're a bad mom. You know what I mean? Or call it that one time they did something. If you want to punch us in the gut, say that. And that's another one. Or threaten suicide and say everyone will blame you for that. Threaten suicide was a big one. If you leave, I'm going to kill myself, all that kind of stuff. That was rough. If you guys have any questions, we have a few more minutes with Kimberly on, so please do your best to put the questions in the comment. So I wanted to address another question that came in. They said co-parenting with the narc. Co-parenting with the narc. We know that narcissist abusers, they don't really co-parent. They more parallel parent. So
what they do is dominance parent. That's what they do. It's their way or the highway. It's my way or the highway, and we're going to do what I say. That's how they want to parent. Okay. But when you leave a narcissist or a narcissistically abusive relationship, what you're looking to do is parallel parent. And parallel parenting means that you divorce yourself from what happens with your children when they are with the other parent, except for abuse, violence, or something that, violates their, dignity or their respect. You don't want to set them up to be taking abuse from the other parent. But what little Johnny is going to be wearing to the basketball game tomorrow, that's if they're with the other parent, that's none of your business. What they eat when they're with the other parent, none of your business. And this is hard because typically these are the parents that are like invested in their kids. They've been pouring into their kids. And so for you to say, I'm not going to think about what happens with that other parent, it is super hard. And I said this on my webinar last night. I trust God with my children. Those children belong to Him. When I'm not with them, He's with them. And because of that, I trust that if there's anything that I need to know, that God will let me know it when I need to know it. So I don't have to stalk and pry and go through phones and ask them a whole bunch of questions and make them feel sad or uncomfortable or fearful of the other parent. I don't have to do none of that. Parallel parenting means you support the relationship they have with that other parent. And if they come home, you say, did you have a good time? Great, I'm so glad. You don't ask a whole bunch of details. They're free to share details with you if they want to. But you're not prying into the relationship with that other parent. You let them form their own.
That's hard, Kimberly. Who else want to tell Kimberly what? That's hard. That's hard.
I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not. But what I am saying
it is hard.
Is that
because I think as the victim, as the parent, the maybe the primary parent, we're with our kids more. We know what our kids like, what they do, what they don't like. And then we know, and this is what I remember telling the judge this. I said, but Your Honor, the next relationship he's going to be in, he's going to be abusive to that partner too. And so I know that I have to give him parenting time So that means my children are going to be exposed to that abuse too. The judge didn't care, irrelevant. But the fact is, you're concerned about that. But I absolutely agree with you 100%. It's kind of like, you know what, God, you have to take control, because otherwise you're going to go crazy and trying to micromanage and macro control everything that they do. That's right.
And it gives them ammo. It gives them ammo to call you the crazy person, the crazy parent, the one that's always in their business, that's obsessed with them and all the rest of this. When you surrender control of your children to the other parent and trust God to take care of them,
that's it.
It frees you up. It frees them up to learn and to develop their own relationship with that other parent. And it gives you peace. Again, the fight that the fight for freedom is a fight for your peace and sense of stability and stressless life living. That's what you're fighting for. And you have to choose it every day. And this is a part of that choosing. I'm not saying this is easy. This is not easy.
It's not. Yeah. It's definitely not, As a mom of young ones, I'm looking at Kimberly rolling my eyes, y'all. Like,
look,
but she's right.
I'm doing this. I'm doing this. So I know that you can do it.
Yeah,
I know you can do it.
Yeah.
And of course, again, I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. This is not if the other parent is doing something to violate your children, abuse your children, exploit them in any way, expose them to things that are inappropriate, and that there are legally ramifications that can be taken.
Absolutely.
You get that, you get law enforcement involved if it's necessary to do it. And so you have to learn in your area, you have to learn in your state and in your county and in your area what the laws are around child abuse, around sexual exploitation, around all of that.
Yeah, that's good.
All of it.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Let's see. Another question was, okay, what about healing the damage the narc has inflicted on the children who may be now teens and adults?
It's a really great question. Okay. So 2 parts. The first part is your children need a healed, healthy mom or dad. Period. So part of their healing is watching you heal. That's right. That's part 1.
Okay, I'm sorry. I know. But I gotta talk about that, because I tell parents this all the time.
Yeah.
Your kids are oftentimes as good as you are. You can't be losing it, cracking up all over the place and think kids are going to see healing and wholeness from that. I get you're going to cry. I get you're going to be devastated. The shower is a really good place for that. Your therapist's office is a really good place for that. With your girlfriends over drinks is a really good place for that. Yes. But to be carrying that weight, and your children are carrying it with you, they've already endured too much if they've lived in the abusive situation.
That's
your kid, they need a whole, healthy, healed parent, especially when we know the abuser, exactly, and they know that the abuser or the narc is not that. So you need to be that for them and show them that love and stability. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's a very, very good point to emphasize.
Because they say that children need one stable, securely attached person in their life to thrive. And that could be a parent, a grandparent, it could be a teacher, a coach. They need one person that they know they can trust, that has their back, that they can come to for healthy and appropriate guidance, and that loves them deeply. They need one person. So you becoming as healthy as possible is a part of you showing up for them. Absolutely. Yeah. And that second part of that, the second part of supporting kids who are teenagers or older kids who have watched some of this abuse and been in the environment that's been toxic, take them to counseling. Make counseling normal. Take them to counseling, put them in activities that are things that they like to do, that bring out the joy in them, whether it's sports, whether it's art, whether it's you start exploring their hobbies and things that get them in relationships with good friends that can support them having co-regulation. Those are all of the things that can help your children to heal from what they have experienced from that narcissistic abuse.
That's good. Thank you for answering that. That's a great answer. It is further abuse. The kids to burden the kids. The kids they don't need to take on the weight, Oh, I had to bathe mommy. Mommy wasn't able to get up, or mom's not functioning well. Kids have to be kids. We have to give them that space to do that. So learning how to say no as people pleasers, as victims of abuse, we're so used to saying, okay, no problem. Yes. Even when we don't want it, in the worst of situations, we give into things we never thought that we would. We say okay and yes to things that hurt us. So how do we learn to say no once coming out of that relationship?
The first part of it is you have to get into some safe, secure, get a safe, secure circle of people who you can tell the truth to. Because what's really happened is you've disconnected from truth, the truth of what's going on in you. So you have to have some places to practice saying, I'm pissed off at you.
That's good.
I'm mad. No, I don't want to do that. And the other person respond with support to you saying no. You need environments where you can practice saying no without negative consequences. And so that circle that you create, that support circle, your counselor, your therapist, your close, friends, family members that are supportive to you, you've got to start stepping into saying what you really think and feel in the safe environment of those relationships. And it's practice, because you've been saying yes to everything and everyone your whole life. Many of us, I know I was. And so it's become a habit. And so you have to break, again, this is about, forming new neural pathways in the brain. You gotta start some new habits. But it has to be with people who are not going to abuse you, violate you, give you negative feedback, give you I'm disappointed in you. You get to that later on. Once you've strengthened being able to say what you really want, need, think, and feel, and you say no to things, then you can handle it later on when someone says, well, you're this, that. You start going, okay, well, you're free to have your opinion because you've been supported to say it over time.
That's good. Start to build that muscle. Build that muscle until it's strong enough to stand on its own. I love that. Creating that safe space, because the fact is, it's okay to say no. No is an entire sentence. It's a period at the end of it. It's done. No, you don't have. We explain. We explain. We over explain. We give reasons why. It's a no. It's just a no for me. And so I say no all the time now, but I know it's a no. I was definitely that person who had been saying yes all my life. People pleaser all day long. I love when you said when you can step into saying what you think, feel, need, and want. That's very important. And because you're not jumping in, you slowly start to do it around safe people who love you and care about you, right?
That's right.
And then before you know it, it's second nature. You ask me, Kimberly, do you want to? No, I'm good, but thanks. No, thank you. No, I'm good. No, thank you. You start to not be afraid to let your feelings, thoughts, desires to be made known, because you become secure in them. So I love that.
Absolutely.
That was really good.
Absolutely.
That was good. All right, so we talked about what's over. Okay, anybody have any other questions? Do you want to go into overt and covert or no? Because we're kind of sipping on time.
We can.
Yes, no.
We can.
It's up to you.
I've been told I have about 5 minutes over here.
Okay, well, no, let's not. So, Anybody have any last minute questions? For those of you that tuned in, they were out of. They have no electricity. We're at her house, and so she's in Starbucks, you guys, to make sure that you guys are getting this content. It's right. So no is a full sentence. It's good self-help to say no, because for so long in your abusive relationship, you said no to things that have caused you pain, said no to things you didn't want to do. I know someone asked a question about healing, so I think it'll be a good thing to heal on that. How do you start that healing journey? I know we touched on it a little bit last time, but what do you suggest to start healing? I know we talked about prayer, meditation, getting in a group. What do you think are some ways that they can start to heal?
The first step, again, is no contact. You've got to get out of the abusive relationship. As long as you're in the abusive relationship, as long as you are in abusive relationships that are ancillary to that relationship, you cannot heal. My quote that I say all the time is, you cannot heal until you're out of harm's way. Step one. And then once you do that, you build a support network of people, whether it's coaches, therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists. You get on medication if that's appropriate based on what you've experienced, and you start rebuilding your ability to stand. And one of the things that I have done, because I did not have this, is I created a community that will allow people to have a survivors community, a trauma recovery community for people to be able to be taught, to be equipped, to be able to practice saying no, to be able to, have the tools and resources necessary to support their nervous system, their bodies, their spirits, their souls in every possible way. But you need to get into an environment that is going to support the healing that you desire, and see people who are where you want to be, and start being in a relationship with those people.
That's good.
That's vital. It's vital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you see someone that you admire, recognize, you say, "Oh, they're healed. I want to be healed too." Connect with those people. You know, you don't want to keep staying around things that are broken, that hurt. What did Tracy just say in the comments? She said, "Hold on, let me go back to it." She goes, "Don't heal alone. Heal in community. Don't do this by yourself. Set boundaries. Set boundaries. I don't care who they're with. Set boundaries." That's another part. Yes, community is so important. Anytime you got to do it. Round 3 next. Y'all trying to kill us. Okay, so thank you both so much for this great information. Thank you. I wish that I had this. So anybody have any last questions? Do you have anything else you want to share, y'all? She get kicked out of Starbucks, y'all. She got
One thing I wanted to say is my community is launching November 1st. That is on Sunday, November 1st. It is the Freedom Academy.
On the bottom of the screen.
On the bottom of the screen, you can opt in so that you can be one of the first 100 people, are the founding members of this community. I am so excited about it. I'm starting to teach next Tuesday. There are going to be 2 classes that I teach every week, Tuesday and Thursday night. And I'm going to be doing instruction and teaching around all resources, tools, trauma recovery, all of those things. And then we're going to go into a private Zoom, so that we can connect. We can see each other. I'm going to start teaching you some actual tools, meditation tools, soaking tools, how to start putting what's happened to you that week in a vault. I call it Vault Tuesday. And that is going to teach you how to take all of the details of your abuse and simplify it to 3 things. What happened, how it made you feel, and what you need in that moment. I'm going to start just training your brain to start looking at the situations that happen and bringing it back to, what do I need to pray about? What do I need to ask for support with? And simplify it so that you don't re-traumatize yourself with all the details.
That's good. And that is in the Freedom Academy, you guys. Look here. And first of all, I talked about that picture about how the abuse affected her physically. Guys, go like her page, the Narcissistic Abuse Coach. You'll see the picture there, but also go follow her for her academy that she has coming up starting on November 1st, which is Sunday. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Everyone is saying thank you so much for going to Starbucks and meeting us anyway. So they said sign me up. Yeah, so go ahead and guys head over so you can sign up for that program. All right, you guys. We'll see you later. All right, see you later, guys. Thanks for hanging with us tonight.